Okay, good morning and welcome back to day 29 of 7 Habits of Highly Effective Teens. We are moving on to habit 4 today, and this is called Think Win-Win. Life is an all-you-can-eat buffet. What do we live for if it is not to make life less difficult for each other? I attended a tough business school that utilized the infamous forced curve grading policy. Every class consisted of 90 students, and in each class, 10% or 9 people would receive what was called a Category 3. A Category 3 was a nice way of saying you flunked. In other words, no matter how well or poorly the class performed as a whole, 9 people would flunk the class. And if you flunked too many classes, you were kicked out of school. The pressure was insane. I particularly like this quote by C.S. Lewis, who is an author. Pride gets no pleasure out of having some things, only out of having more of it than the next man. The problem was, everyone in the class was smart. I must have been an admissions error. So the competition became very intense, which influenced me. Notice I didn't say made me, and my classmates to act in funny ways. Instead of aiming for good grades as I did in college and high school, I found myself aiming not to be one of the 9 people that would flunk. Instead of playing to win, I was playing not to lose. It reminds me of the story I once heard about 2 friends being chased by a bear. When one turned to the other and said, I just realized that I don't need to outrun the bear, I only need to outrun you. While sitting in class one day, I couldn't help but look around the room and try to count off 9 people who were dumber than me. When someone made a stupid comment, I caught myself thinking, phew, he's guaranteed to flunk. Only 8 more to go. Sometimes I found myself not wanting to share my best ideas with others during study groups because I was afraid they'd steal them and get all the credit instead of me. All these feelings were eating me up inside and making me feel real small, as if my heart were the size of a grape. The problem was I was thinking win lose. And win lose thinking will always fill your heart with negative feelings. Luckily, there is a more excellent way. It's called think win win, and it's habit 4. Think win win is an attitude toward life, a mental frame of mind that says I can win and so can you. It's not me or you, it's both of us. Think win win is the foundation for getting along well with other people. It begins with the belief that we're all equal, that no one is inferior or superior to anyone else, and no one really needs to be. Now, you might say, come on, Sean, it's a cutthroat competitive world out there. Everyone can't always win. I disagree. That's not how life really is. Life really isn't about competition or getting ahead of others or scoring in the 95th percentile. It may be that way in business, sports, and school, but those are merely institutions that we've created. It's certainly not that way in relationships. And relationships, as we learned just a chapter ago, are the stuff life's made of. Think how silly it is to say, who's winning in your relationship, you or your friend? So let's explore this strange idea called think win win. From my experience, the best way to do it is to see what win win is not. Win win is not win lose win, or lose lose. These are all common but poor attitudes towards life. Climb aboard, strap yourself in, and let's take a look at each one. I like this little cartoon. Hey Tom, I just realized that I don't need to outrun the bear. I only need to outrun you. Yikes, Tom about to get Okay, so win lose, the totem pole. Mom, there's a big game tonight and I need to take the car. I'm sorry, Marina, but I need to get groceries tonight. Your friends can pick you up. But Mom, my friends always have to pick me up. It's embarrassing. Listen, you've been complaining about not having any snacks in the house for a week. This is the only time I have to get groceries. I'm sorry. You're not sorry. If you were sorry, you'd let me take the car. You're so unfair. You don't even care about me having friends. Look, fine. Go ahead, take the car. But don't come whining to me when there's nothing to eat after school tomorrow. Marina won and Mom lost. This is called win lose. But has Marina really won? Maybe she has this time, but how does Mom feel? And what's she going to do the next time she has a chance to get even with Marina? That's why, in the long run, it never pays to think win lose. Win lose is an attitude toward life that says the pie of success is only so big. And if you get a big piece, there's less for me. So I'm going to make sure I get my slice first and that I get a bigger piece than you. Win lose is competitive. I call it the totem pole syndrome. I don't care how good I am as long as I'm a notch higher than you on the totem pole. Relationships, friendships, and loyalty are all secondary to winning the game, being the best, and having it your way. I'm better than you. Well, I'm better than her. At least I'm better than you. And oh, I'm a loser. Win lose is full of pride. In the words of C.S. Lewis, pride gets no pleasure out of having something, only out of having more of it than the next man. It is the comparison that makes you so proud, the pleasure of being above the rest. Don't feel too bad if you think win lose at times, because we have been conditioned to do so from an early age. I think this is especially the case for those of us who've been raised in the USA, where there are some amazing opportunities, but everyone's clawing to get at them. To illustrate my point, let's follow Trey, an ordinary boy, as he grows up. Trey's first experience with competition begins in the third grade when he runs in the annual field day events and quickly discovers that ribbons are given only to first, second, and third place finishers. Trey doesn't win any races, but is excited to at least receive a ribbon for participation until his best friend tells him that those ribbons don't really count because everyone gets one. When Trey enters middle school, his parents can't afford cool jeans and pricey sneakers, so Trey wears older, less cool stuff. He can't help but notice what his wealthier friends are wearing and feels as if he isn't quite measuring up. In high school, Trey begins playing the violin and joins the orchestra. To his dismay, he learns that only one person can be first fiddle. Trey is disappointed when he's assigned second fiddle, but feels very good about the fact that he's not third. At home, Trey's been his mom's favorite child for several years, and now his younger brother, who happened to win a lot of trophies at Little League, is taking over as mom's golden child. Trey begins studying extra hard at school, for he figures that if he can't get better grades than his brother, he might if he can get better grades than his little brother, he might become mom's chosen one again. After 4 years of high school, Trey is ready for college. So he takes the SAT and scores in the 50th percentile, which means that he is smarter than half his peers, but not as smart as the other half. Unfortunately, his score is not good enough to get into the college he wanted. The college Trey attends using forced curve grading. In his first chemistry class of 30 students, Trey learns that there are only 5 A grades, 5 B grades available. The rest are C's and D's. Trey works hard to avoid a C or D and luckily earns the last B grade available. And the story continues. After being raised up in this kind of world, is it any wonder then that Trey and the rest of us grow up seeing life as a competition and winning as everything? Is it any wonder that we often find ourselves looking around to see how we stack up on the totem pole? Unfortunately, you and I are not victims. We have the strength to be proactive and rise above all of this win lose conditioning. A win lose attitude wears many faces. The following are some of them: using other people emotionally or physically for your own selfish purposes, trying to get ahead at the expense of someone else, gossiping or spreading rumors about someone else as if putting someone else down builds you up, always insisting on getting your way without thinking about other people's feelings, getting jealous when something good happens to someone close to you. In the end, win lose will usually backfire. You may end up on the top of the totem pole, but you'll be there alone and without friends. The trouble with the rat race, said actress Lily Tomlin, is that even if you win, you're still a rat. Okay, so lose or lose win. I want you to write a paragraph about a time when you used competition um, in a win lose type situation, um, where you knew that winning would also cause you to lose something. Okay, so write about a time where you used win lose in a competitive situation. And obviously, when you were in the process, you didn't realize this is what you were doing. But a time where maybe you won, but it was at the expense of someone or something else. Okay. All right. So I hope you enjoyed today's lesson. I'll catch you back on the flip side tomorrow. Tomorrow. Toodle doo.